All right, hey guys, welcome to a updated settings tab overview. I just wanted to take a few minutes and kind of go over. We've got quite a few new features here, so I wanted to reshoot this video, but I'm just going to kind of start from the top and go down the page here. If you've watched the onboarding video already, you know the inputs here. This is going to be your fbaexcel.io members area login email and password. You want to make sure you hover over here and kind of read what you should do. It needs to be all lowercase, no extra spaces, essentially exactly how you log into the members area. Same with your password. Pay attention to capitalizations, extra spaces at the beginning and the end. This is usually where users will have issues if they've not plugged in their password correctly. So you can always double check that you've got things right by actually going in and trying to log into the website. That's what this kind of function here does, is just verify that your account's still current. Next, the enter main keyword here. This is going to be in the original quick start video for figuring out your top 10 ASINs, or if you want to research your ASIN along with your 9 top competitors. This is where you would start that process. So I'm going to authorize this here real quick and just show you here. Step 1 is search Amazon and get your top 10 ASINs. So go back and watch that video that covers that. It'll be the very first video kind of in this training series, but you do need to have populated this cell here with kind of your main keyword first. And then once it takes you to Amazon, you're going to find your top 10 ASINs. Always plugging in your ASIN if you're including that in your research as this top one here with the star. And then we have some filter list criteria here. The high potential list, competitor winner, and my top performers. You can edit these criteria, and essentially what it's going to do is let you just apply these quick filters. Once you have data here in your listing wizard tab, you can come up here to this kind of bulk action pane, hit high potential list, and I'm just going to hit this black arrow here, and then it's going to give me a prompt here in just a second. Just show me what the bounds are. Hit OK. And then you'll notice that it will put a table filter around all of our data, and we'll hit OK. And then it's going to actually check all of these, and then it's going to filter this range. So these are all the ones based on our criteria that we noted as high potential. And if we go back, we can kind of see what those were. It means when my organic rank is between positions 15 and 50, so you're within striking distance of kind of the top 15 there. That's what the definition there is. You can always obviously change those, and this can be useful for assigning priorities, or maybe you want to save lists because all of these are checked now. If I go and click save list and then click this action again, it's going to save a special report just with this filtered range, so that can be helpful. All right, so it saves it to your, if we go back to our Google Drive, into our export folder. So go to your main Google Drive directory, and this table, or this file automatically gets created when you authorize this export files. So if I just double click on that. All right, so if I just double click on that, you can see there's my file that just got saved, and you can either archive that or use it to build PPC campaigns, different things. So that's just a quick little demo of what that does. If I hop back to the settings tab now, scrolling down even further, the search query performance report mode, this is pretty important. Just make sure that that's kind of toggled to whichever option you want to use. Obviously the branded ones, I think you get quite a bit more from a keyword standpoint there. These rank range thresholds, the gray fields here can be changed, and then that's going to change a few different places. You've got some rank range threshold settings if we hit the listing optimization dashboard right here, so those will get changed there. And then I think there's another spot, right here, that they'll get changed as well, and then all of these metrics will get shifted accordingly as well, depending on those new kind of limits that you set. All right, and then we've got some organic rank range thresholds. By default, they're set to 10 and 30. Those just correlate to here, so top 10 or top 30, and then that's going to shift your search volume metrics around accordingly. So just kind of know that by default 10 and 30 are usually pretty good numbers to judge things by, but you can always tweak those if you want to look at them in a different perspective. Performance settings, the file import move mode, this one's pretty important for the sake of this video. In order to set up KD boosted for multiple ASINs to run, in conjunction and keep maintaining them throughout the month, you'll want to toggle this on, and then you'll want to have a separate KD boosted file for each ASIN. So I just recommend, renaming it KD boosted 1.9 _ the ASIN. And then what that's going to do then, if we go to our Keyword Dominator folder, all right, you can see when we authorized, we got a keyword sources new folder structure set up automatically and an imported folder set up automatically. So all it's going to do when you have that toggled on is move the files from the new to the imported. So the next time you want to use the new to save new files, it'll all be wiped out and blank. So this primary source row max, that's going to be pertaining to whatever you have set here in the green cell, and it's going to be pertaining to the main kind of keyword competitor data source. So for like Helium 10, it's going to be Cerebro, Zonguru, it's Keywords on Fire, Jungle Scout, it's Keyword Scout. It's going to basically cut off that file if it exceeds that number of rows. So in this case, 4,000. I usually recommend like 2,000 to 3,000 just from a kind of default save off the Helium 10 site, for example, of Cerebro. I'll change the minimum search volume and just keep bumping it up until I get within 2,000 to 3,000 keywords. But just know that this is here. If you do want to bring in a bunch of them, you may have to change that number and make it higher. The search volume precedent, this is another really important setting to understand. Essentially, you have two options. You can do search query report and then the primary metrics, or as far as search volume, or you can do your primary first, which primary again pertains to this green cell, and this would pertain to the Cerebro search volumes that are found in there. So if you have it set like it is by default, it's going to look at the search query report search volume, which again are Amazon delivered numbers, so they're going to be more accurate as far as what is actually occurring. But one thing to note, you do want to make sure you have monthly search query report as the period when you're saving that, so it'll line up with your Cerebro, just so you're doing your best to kind of compare apples to apples. The other thing I'll mention, if you are using the ASIN style search query report, you're obviously not going to get as many keywords in there. I think, on a lot of the products I assessed, you'd get maybe 400, anywhere between 200 to 400 terms. It looks like Amazon were reporting, where if you did brand, you could always get up to like 1,000 because it combines all your products. But if all your products really aren't similar, then it obviously would make more sense to just probably do the ASIN report. But just know that this is kind of what dictates the search volume that's going to show up if we go back to this column, this one right here, so column M. And you will have the other search volumes. I don't think I have the data imported into, oh, actually, yeah, I do. So you've got Helium 10 search volume, Jungle Scout here. I don't have search query report data in this one yet. Or maybe I do. Let me look. Yeah, so I do have some data in there. And it'll populate if it's obviously in here, in this search query report section under search volume. So you do kind of have everything, but the main one that you're using when you're optimizing your listings and whatnot is here, and this is where this precedent gets applied. So just so you hopefully understand that. All right, and then the search term focus, this is just pertaining to the PPC data, and this just tabulates your like impressions, orders, sales, clicks, all that information based on either the search term or the targeting kind of lens. So you can toggle that, and then if you come up here and other listing wizard tools, refresh PPC metrics right here, that will let me show you here. I don't have PPC data imported into this demo here, but it's going to refresh kind of this section here and either swap the data for the targeting lens or the search term lens. All right, and then this one here, you can plug in your product SKU, not your ASIN, if you do have these set up by one product per Kitty boosted file. So if we plugged in the actual Amazon SKU, and then you came over here to the listing wizard tab, and you were editing your listing, this link here, this just populates and takes you right to your search terms. So it's just kind of a single click link that can be helpful for if you want to manually import what your current search terms are, or you want to edit your new search terms. That can be a fast way to kind of accomplish that. All right, and then the rank color codes, this, if you enable, if we go back now to our listing wizard tab, we're going to see a bunch of color codes here, and this just helps quickly identify. If we show our listing optimization dashboard, we can understand what the color codes are. Basically, 1 to 4 ranks going to be green, 5 to 10 blue, 11 to 30 yellow, 31 to 50 purple, and anything over that's going to be red. So that can just be helpful for at a glance telling you kind of where your competitors are sitting. I personally don't like that, so I keep it off, but just so you know that's there. And then lastly, the data hub. If you've watched the previous videos, you've already kind of understand what this is. It basically applies when you are either downloading new data in step 2 or importing new data in step 3. You want to check the files that you either want to import or download and just make sure that you've got the ones you want before you run the scripts. And then when you're importing the data, which is step 3 here, you'll get the prompt and kind of import status codes showing up in this area. So you'll know if maybe you saved the file wrong or saved it with the wrong file type. There'll be an error message that'll pop up, and you'll just have to go into your Google Drive, make the necessary change. Just know that these are very dynamic. So if you want to like overwrite your advertising data every week, you could come in and just select, say like that, deselect all of this. If you want to keep the same keyword data stuff in there, deselect all these, and then you would just run your import script here after you've saved, after you've downloaded it and saved it in the right folder. You've got the right file names, codes here. This is what you name them, what you type in, and then here's the folder in your Google Drive where you save them. So hopefully fairly intuitive. There's quite a bit going on, so I know it's can be a bit confusing, but hopefully that makes sense. And that's about it. I think there's some other settings we're going to be adding, but I felt like this was a decent time to kind of update this video. Hopefully this makes sense. If you guys have any questions, though, feel free to reach out to support, and I'll see you guys on the next training. See ya.